See what this boy Kirk got to say today, man. It should be interesting. It should be interesting. What? I know that too. It might be a third one. B. Jones, yo, I'm trying to see what this man's about to say in this press conference, bro. I want to see the energy he's coming into. Let's see if he gets disrespectful today, right now. You know, they like to kind of back down from it a little bit. They don't want it. They don't want the smoke. Yeah, my shit is cooked though. Buddy's late. I don't like, there's no way that they're gonna be able to stop us at home though. If it was on the road, I think it would be way different, but like we're gonna be too high powered at home. And I do got respect for their defense, but like I don't expect their defense to stonewall us in the Coliseum. That's gonna be the difference. Lincoln Riley Public at some kind. I mean, he did kind of say that though, right? He said that in the post game after the Northwestern game. Let me ask you, do you legitimately believe that he's gonna like do you really believe he's gonna leave? Like, do you feel like he could leave? Because I was kind of saying this like when Pate said that on the podcast. I was like, yo, if Lincoln Riley leaves after these 4 years of me, like, and I know B Jones, I think you're on the front lines as well. Like a lot of people in the fan base saying, like, we believe in Lincoln, he's gonna get there. Like, I might just turn into one of these crazy ass Oklahoma people that are like following like whatever team he goes to and just popping up on the road and shit, saying, like, fuck you, Lincoln. Yeah. But the thing, Alan, though, is like, how many times have we seen these coaches come out and be like, oh, like, I love it here. My kids love it here. My wife loves it here. And then they end up dipping. It's like the same thing that Buddy did, Buddy Jed Fish did at Arizona. It's like, man, I love these kids. I love this program. My heart is here in Tempe, Arizona. My heart is here in Tucson, blah, blah, blah. And then he's out of here, bro. Coaches are the biggest con artists and liars, bro. Like, I was lied to so many coaches when I was in high school. And like, dude, my dad was a coach, bro. You gotta sell. These coaches are they're salesmen at the end of the day, man. The biggest salesman ever. Damn, Kirk. What's the deal, man? Sitting here waiting for damn Kirk Ferentz, bro, to come up here and talk some BS. He knows he hasn't achieved anything yet. Yeah. I feel it. It's just like, for me, Austin, it's like, bro, the only job that I could, like, realistically, one of those only jobs, like, is like that Texas job. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you haven't even achieved. Yeah, you haven't achieved the national championship. Like you haven't reached your heights as a coach. You're just hopping. You're gonna hop from Oklahoma to USC to somewhere else. That's why I don't see it. I think USC, like I legitimately believe USC is like a top 3 job, bro. If you can really get to that point where you could utilize, everything at your disposal, which is what I was kind of talking about. It was good, Blackie Chan, which is kind of what I was talking about last Saturday and shit. It's like, bro, we're finally tapping into the well here, of recruiting and a defense and everything that we have to offer, man. If you guys haven't checked out, I posted a video a couple hours ago, kind of like showcasing a lot of these recruits in the 2026 class, like some of the numbers they put up, some of the crazy stuff they did on film. You check that out. I just kind of hopped on here impromptu, bro, because I kind of want to see what this dude wanted to say. I kind of want to react in real time. Yeah, I mean, it's well, I think, yeah, there's been a downward trajectory on, I think, where people look at him as a coach. He's not really like in that young, like, oh, like what could Lincoln Riley really be? I mean, he's still very young. I think he's what, like 43, 40, 42, 43. But at the same time, like when he was at Oklahoma and like the college football playoff and stuff, like people don't have that feeling about him anymore. I still feel he could be that guy. And hopefully he doesn't prove me wrong in these next 3 games. But I still think Lincoln Riley has a pretty bright future, especially because he is a young coach. So I understand you on that front. I think he earns, yeah, for sure. He's not like the shiny new toy anymore. He's not the shiny new toy. He's not the genius, bro. Yo, let me ask you a question. You ever see a black head coach be called a genius? Have you ever seen that? It's crazy how you never see a black head coach be called a genius, right? I'm trying to call Dan Lynn a genius, bro, but we on the cusp. We on the cusp. Lanning said I'm not leaving as soon as the rumors came out. I understand coaches say whatever, but I mean, I hear you. Like, I don't know though. I mean, I feel you. It's kind of like it kind of comes down to what you want to hear as a fan, like what you want to believe. Me personally, I have no faith in any of these coaches. I know they could be they're liars, bro. They're salesmen, they're liars. So I'm not falling for nothing. Even if bro comes out here and says, "Oh, I love it," like, okay, I won't really believe it, but I mean, I feel, and I think there's definitely one thing for sure and for certain is there's a lot of conversations that aren't public that are being had between a lot of these recruits and a lot of these parents and stuff. You know what I'm saying? When nonsense like that comes out, like I'm sure, there's conversations where it's like, yo, hey guys, don't believe that.
Welcome everybody, and
here we go.
Just recognize Veterans Day. Certainly,
the man is here.
Mentioned that to our team this morning, and significance of that. So, it's good to have everybody here. Again, just looking back real quickly on Saturday, I thought our team really competed hard, and this type of play, this level of play, there's always a handful of plays. That's one of those truisms in sports that really doesn't change, and it's a really narrow margin. So, we had some close calls there, some things that you wish could do differently, but you don't get takeovers, obviously. And but the bottom line is, I just thought, our team really competed hard. Good learning opportunity Saturday or Sunday, excuse me, to go back and look at the tape and try to, see if we can clean some stuff up. And then obviously had to move forward yesterday. So hit the field, and full attention right now is on USC for good reason. Captains going into this game, same 4 guys. We got Herkett and Entringer defensively, and then Gronowski and Logan Jones on the offensive side. Injury wise,
yo, when I you, are you guys hearing it twice or not?
Guys are sore and beat up, certainly.
Because if not, I won't.
Last week, a really physical game, hard fought. But I think, I think everybody be ready to go here. So, if you're paying attention, which obviously we are, got a big challenge ahead of us. USC's really having a great season right now. To me, they're playing at a really high level. Coming here, and I don't know if it's quiet or not, but you haven't heard a lot of chatter about them. They're sitting
sounds fine right now. All right, bet.
Near the top of the league at 5-1. They've been really playing good football all year long. As you might expect, the roster, just, they've got great size, great speed, great athleticism. No big surprise there. And then, beyond that, they're a very well coached team. Certainly, Coach Riley is a noted offensive coach and has had great success no matter where he's gone in that regard. Special teams.
Was that a slight?
Jumps out at you. They don't.
Why didn't he just say coach?
They kick off a lot, which goes back to their offensive success. But they're really good in the kicking game.
You said offensive coach.
Very consistent, very productive. We've got number 6 back there. The great receiver is a punt return guy as well. And, obviously a very dangerous player and a good punter on top of that. And then I think defensively, they're in the second year of their system, and I think they've made big strides there. And that's, to me, a big part of the reason they're 7-2. They've always been a really potent offensive team and playing really good defense right now. So look back a year ago, they were 6-6, won their bowl game to go 7-6, and right now 7-2, and just playing at a really high level. A couple of things that jump out at you. I mentioned the defensive play. They run the ball at about 50 yards, at least in conference play, 50 yards more a game than they were a year ago, and right up there at the top of the conference with Oregon. So, doing a really good job there. Quarterback's playing tremendous for him, a really good football player. And with that, the interception last year, they had 15 on the year, and right now they've got 5. So their, quarterback play's really been really good on top of that. I think a big difference in this whole thing. So all that being said, we got a big challenge on our hands, and we're doing our best to get ready for it right now. And then, playing in the Coliseum, as a guy asked about that Saturday night, historic venue. I didn't realize it was built as a tribute to the veterans from World War One back in the 20s, and a lot of history behind that on top of it. So, quick second just on the kick captain. We got Blake Menta from Urbandale is going to be our kid captain this weekend. 10-year-old, and at age 10, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. They found cancer that spread to his spinal cord. So
that's respect. That's respect. I feel like he's acknowledging the progression and whatnot.
That he underwent in 10 days. Their family moved in into a hotel for about a month, including their dog. And it seems like he's doing a lot better now. He's had frequent treatment. Looks like he's in remission, which is obviously a good thing. And then a quick side story, when he was in the hospital, started 3 fundraisers, and has raised, I've been told, over $100,000 doing that. So just a pretty amazing young guy, he and his family, certainly. So he's not playing sports right now.
Yo, let me know if it's messing up or if it's
walking
freezing.
Habits and abilities.
Anybody in the chat?
My grandkids likes
I just cooked this up out of nowhere,
that type of deal, and I was really doing a good job on his recovery. So just again, wrapping it up, great respect for USC.
I know, man. I want to come out here and shit on Kirk Ferentz.
Having an excellent season. So
I want to come out here and shit on, bro. He's talking
big
about
challenge for us
kids.
going out there, all 3 phases, and have to be at our absolute best. So we'll do our best to finish out the week of preparation and try to get ready for a big challenge. I'll throw it out for questions.
Let's say these questions though.
Madison Ferentz, the Gazette. With 3 close losses, particularly with this season, how have you seen the leaders on this team, whether it be the 4 captains or elsewhere, kind of guide some of these younger players that are getting experience, and just how to continue maturing and moving forward after another close losses here?
Yeah, it really goes back to January. They've been consistent all the way through, and excuse me, never sure who's going to emerge as your leaders, and we've got a bunch of them. Certainly, we've settled in on the 4 captains. Seem to have done that, but we've got a lot of guys right now really doing a good job in that regard, and not all of them are starters. Jade Montgomery was not a starter, but he's been on the leadership group the entire way through it. The guys just, they just come to work every day, the great attitude, and work hard. They realize there's ups and downs in sports. So, I think they're certainly setting the bar for everybody else on the football team. And some of the younger guys are better than others, at least queuing in on what to do and how to do it. And that's part of the process too. But no, they've been really good. I think very steady, and based on yesterday and today, nobody's been discouraged. They're working hard, and they know we got a big challenge in our hands right now.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, a couple of your players talked about when you reflected on last year's West Coast trip to UCLA that you guys may have probably lost the game before it was played. I guess felt like the preparation was good, but they just weren't ready to play. What'd you kind of learn about going to the West Coast last year? I know it was a Friday night, a little bit different, but just how.
Oh yeah, they lost to UCLA, huh? Last year.
I really think it's more the only one it factor I'll put in there to acknowledge that the West Coast trip a year ago was a night game, and those are those are a little bit of a challenge. I'll admit that, but I don't see this one. This is 2:40 Central Time, if you want to look at it that way. So it's not a big a deal. But I think our issue last year in the UCLA game was more just our approach to the game mentally, in my opinion. They were not a team really interested in running the football a year ago. And I'm not sure they wanted to run the ball against us, quite frankly, until we got into the game and we didn't show much interest in playing the run. And then, it was just became obvious they needed to stay with it. And big difference from Saturday. Like, we had total respect for Oregon in every regard, obviously. And, they were still able to run the ball better than we like. But it wasn't because we weren't ready for it. And, I just didn't think we were ready mentally against UCLA last year in the run game. And probably some other areas too, where we left some things out there. So to me, it was more about our approach going into that game than it was where it got played or who we were playing, but just our mental approach in this team so far. This 2025 team is each and every week, and from my vantage point, they've really prepared well and they've gone out and competed with the right attitude, and that's what it takes to give yourself a chance to be successful.
No, it's going to be physical.
Point register. Gronowski was telling us that you guys don't specifically practice 2-point conversions. I know that's been it's cost you guys in the Iowa State loss last year, cost you this week.
Mm-hmm.
What has been your philosophy on 2-point plays, like in terms of practicing them? Has it changed over the with different coordinators, NFL, any kind of inspiration you've had on that or leader?
Yeah, I mean, we practice that situation in camp. I won't say frequently, but we do it. It's in part of the checklist, and you go through it. But we work in the red zone, every week, obviously, and meet on it every week and have a plan for it. So, to that point, we always practice that. So it's going to be something out of that menu, if you will, or that part of the game plan. It's a specific part of the game plan, from the 5 in. So it's going to come out of that playlist typically. And truth be told, last week, Saturday, the point we ended up going to 4 downs. So it was on the 4th down that we used our best 2-point play, unfortunately. So maybe if we could have scored on the one of the first 3 plays, then we would have had a good 2-point play ready, or at least the best one. So, it just didn't work out.
Hey, Kirk, Elliot Clough, Hawkeye Insider. Wanted to ask about Kamari for how he's reached a new level this year, but at the same time, seems like he's just a shoestring tackle away from a big play, if not one time a game, multiple times a game. Yeah. I guess Caleb Johnson was like that a little bit for a little while. How can he reach that next level and make those explosive plays?
Yeah, I think he's been climbing with each year, and we've seen him do good things, all the way through it. And last year he wasn't number 2 back, and Caleb was clearly the number 1 guy. But I think Kamari just has subtly improved in every facet of his game. He's always been pretty good in terms of versatility and being well balanced. A little bit stronger now, a little bit more physical than he was a year ago or 2 years ago, certainly. But has good vision, can make good cuts, all those types of things. And I don't know that he'll ever be a power runner, but he'll continue to get a little bit better. And we've really been pleased with what he's done thus far. I don't think there's any big dramatic step that he's made, but I think he just continually improves. And he's a really good back, so we're really comfortable anytime he's in the game. Going back to Caleb last year, I think as much as anything, it was a matter of focus, which in year 3, that's kind of where the light really came on for him. And the other thing he learned how to do last year was use what he had. He was always a big, strong, powerful guy, but didn't always run that way. And then last year, he really learned how to use his strengths and abilities to benefit his production.
Kirk, John Sears, WHO TV. Wanted to ask you about maybe your message to your defense. Top 5 statistically in the country, but some of your players have expressed just a little frustration about those final game drives and the losses where they couldn't make that one big play. So how do you balance a defense that overall is playing really well, but in those small moments at the end of games, they're a little frustrated that they just can't get over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, stats are great, and I'm all for us being, up there wherever we are defensively if we're highly ranked. But yeah, it is all about getting the job done. Ultimately, the most important 2 most important stats are points, and then wins and losses, which obviously they coincide. So it's just it's kind of like takeaways. Right? We were getting a lot of takeaways early, and then we started doing a better job. It's not like you do anything specific to but it's just about, plan. And, I don't think I have to mention that, we didn't get those stops to our guys because they know that, and it hurts. And, they're working hard all the time to get better at what they do. And that's certainly just part of the game. So, we gave ourselves a chance the other day to, came back with that drive and got the ball down there and scored and took the lead. But, you just got to finish it out. And there's a lot of things, but again, you can always go back 5-6 plays that, happened during the game that would have affected that situation as well. So there's nothing specific. We'll just try to keep working and getting better. And, the task doesn't get any easier because we play another team that's really good. And they can, run the ball and throw the ball very effectively. So it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Hi, Kirk. Jack Lita with KCRG. A little deja vu because we're always asking you about responding after emotional wins and emotional losses. But after nearly 30 years as a head coach, you know what you're doing. What is it that you say that seems to resonate with players about responding and moving on, especially after an emotional loss like last Saturday?
Yeah, first of all, you never know if it does resonate or not. And you never know if you're saying the right thing or not. Time will tell. And believe me, you spent a lot of the week wondering about that and worrying about that, quite frankly. But if coaching and being involved in the game over time has taught me anything, it's just you got to move on. You have to move on. And I guess it's like real life in some ways. If you're going to go out there and compete, which we do, 12 times a year, if you're going to go out there and compete where everybody's got a chance to see and evaluate you, you have to be able to deal with, setbacks. And that's just a big part of coaching. I'd offer a little commentary, been asked about that. And just, today's climate, I worry about that because there's not a lot of forgiveness out there anymore, at least in college football. There never has been in pro football. But, you're not going to win every day. It's just the way it is. My wife reminds me of that all the time. When we lose a game, not that you want to hear it, but you're not going to win every game. You're trying like hell to do that. And at some point, if you can't deal with that, then you probably need to get out. But yeah, it's natural for it to hurt the game day. It hurts on Sunday, and then you got to move on. At least with us working on Mondays now, instead of, the old days, we took Monday off. We're forced physically to do it. And I think that helps the mental part too. Cause you got, especially, this week, it's pretty easy. We got a team looking at us again. That's equally a tough task as what we had last week. So, you better get your attention there real quickly, or else you're putting yourself at a bigger disadvantage going against a really tough team. And it's our job to try to educate, our players to that. That's just how it works. And we got to be conveying those messages to our guys.
Brad Schultz, Daily Radio, and Coach Zach Lutmer has really grown into a leadership role on this defense. How have you seen him grow into that role?
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of guys that, Zach hasn't started a lot of games here going into the season, and now he's starting. He's playing at a really high level. As a coaching staff, we're not surprised because we thought he was really good when we recruited him, probably under-recruited, and then certainly we've gotten to watch him on a daily basis. And, a lot of guys aren't
42-20.
Easy to cherry pick. Think about Carson.
I don't know who you're talking about. Yo,
a little bit, and
like, that's the thing, bro.
Now that they're playing,
they came off that Oregon game. It's like
because they've got a better.
You're either down and you're like, we're like, fuck, you just lost to Oregon,
doing it in game conditions,
or they're just hyped and they still got that mentality to keep going. It's gonna be interesting to see how they pop out
because of his work ethic, what he does every day. So yeah, he's part of the group that's really giving us good leadership this year.
Chad Lystico again. Have you guys talked? I asked this Phil a couple weeks ago, but we're a couple weeks later now. So have you considered? Have you guys had discussions recently about Cam Buffington? If he could be in the regular defense, is he ready to do that, or are you guys still happy with what you got with Montgomery? And
no, I think James done a great job, and we still got Jaden Harold too, who's getting better each week. So I think probably at this time of the year. It's no knock on Cam. Cam's done a lot of good things. Had a pick a couple weeks ago.
I don't think Lincoln's going anywhere.
Yeah, those other guys are probably more game ready right now to be playing.
Iowa's only giving up 14.5 points per game.
We're really excited about, and they're doing a great job.
That is what is kind of spooky. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
They'll be fine. It's like Lutmer probably could have started last year too, but we had some other guys in there.
40 points at home.
Yeah, there's not a big drop off yet. I think we got the best guys playing. Feel good about that.
Madison Hurtzik. With you guys going out to the West Coast, you're getting an opportunity to give TJ a little bit of a chance to have a homecoming in his senior year with this expanded role, things like that. It's not very often that happens despite the changing landscape of college athletics. So to get a player like TJ to get a chance in his senior year starting role to have that kind of homecoming? What does that mean?
Bro,
for
I
you as a
hate
coach
these
to watch him
homecomings.
develop and get to celebrate
I hate
that?
hearing
Yeah, it's
that.
actually more of a pain in the neck sometimes because I was teasing Dan Lane about that on Saturday. Homecoming for him, and all it means is you get about 9,000 ticket requests from people you haven't talked to in 57 years. So not in his case, he's younger than 57, and TJ's certainly younger. But that aside, I'm sure it's a special thing for him, being a native of that state. Although Fresno's still 3 hours away. But yeah, it's got to be exciting for him. I'm sure he'll have people from his background, his high school, and just as youth, coming to the game as well. So it's exciting for him. And probably the biggest concern there is let's make sure we stay focused on the game, which he will. He's doing a great job of that. But yeah, it's got to be a little bit special for him.
David Eichel, Hawkeye Insider. Kirk, I know Indiana and Oregon are two of the most explosive offenses, and you guys held them well under all their averages, but it did seem like missed tackles were a common factor in both, I guess, especially going against USC. You mentioned earlier is one of the better run offenses in the Big Ten, the improvement they made. I guess what's the sort of emphasis this week going in and maybe just finishing through tackles? How do you guys address that? How have you worked on it? And just kind of your overall assessment from the Oregon game about that?
I'm semi-smiling because I'm trying to think of who it was. I read about somebody talking about that during the course of this year, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a coach in college football, and they did like a 30-minute tackling session or whatever. I don't know, but we're practicing like we always do. Historically, we've been pretty good, and I think you got to factor in sometimes too the people you're playing and give them a little credit, and both the teams we're talking about had backs that are really tough to tackle. Him being from Indiana's a really strong runner, and then
USC better be practicing tackling, man.
that factors in, but
Really?
nonetheless, if you want to be a good defensive football
That's
team, you got to tackle well. So, and would not disagree with what you said. Those are not our best tackling efforts overall as a game in game condition. So, if we're going to play better Saturday, we're going to have to do a little bit better job. We got to try to get these guys down first attempt and first guy in, and just do a better job there.
Jonah Crow with WQAD. Kirk, whether it's a win or loss, you guys have resisted the urge to change things too drastically, not getting too different with how you guys approach the games. Is that a message that you relay to the team to kind of keep them calm and not have them worry when there is a tough loss like there was against Oregon?
Yeah, I think one of the things I've appreciated in my career, and I've worked with some really good people during my career. I feel very, very fortunate and been around a lot of good players. I appreciate consistency. And, I think it just kind of starts with, wherever, and I've been various places. You have to understand what you are and who you are and what you believe in. And boy, if you start changing that week to week or in season, it just sends a really bad message, I think. And been times where we thought about it. You go 1 in 10. There's a lot of thoughts you have, but there's certain things I think you have to have an approach, consistency in your approach. And the out of season is a time to look at things. We went through a major overhaul between 14 and 15, but there's a time and place for it, and in season is not the time typically, unless there's just something really amiss. But I don't think that's been the case, and it's usually a matter of just doing a little bit better and a little bit more. That's about all you can try to do week to week, and that's a challenge. And then, like I said, this week it's easy because you go from one top opponent, and now you got another team that's could very likely end up as a top 10 team before the season's over.
Chad Lastico again. I wanted to ask about. We asked after the game about the long snapping thing. Like, you didn't really know exactly then, like, what happened. Number one, did you get some more intel and on how those snaps went so wild, and also just kind of in general on special teams this year, it's like been so feast or famine. Like what is your kind of overall assessment? Because you've gotten massive plays. I mean, school record field goals, but then obviously, traumatic plays as well.
Yeah, those are things that happen in sports, and I don't think it was. I mean, obviously, weather was a factor, but you got to throw the ball in the ring, and it's tougher. And snapping the ball is a little bit tougher too. But we've worked with wet balls, so it wasn't like that was a foreign thing to us. So sometimes it just doesn't work the way you want, and then things tend to go in cycles a little bit too. And unfortunately, we had 2 bad snaps there. So nobody feels worse than the guy who did it, and he's working hard to become more consistent. And your assessment of the special teams is not totally, there have been some hit and miss moments, that type of deal, but it hasn't been just one area where, boy, we're not doing this very well week after week after week. That's where you have to really kind of knuckle down and address it. But I don't think that's been the issue. It's just kind of been a little bit of a, fire drill that way a little bit. So, okay, thank you. See you guys out there.
All righty then. Hey, man. That was respect, man. Are we getting DCs and OCs? I don't think we are. I think it's just him. I think that's Raps. But I don't know, man. As far as Iowa goes, like they are only allowing 14.5 points per game. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be that's nothing to play with, man. Even with our offense, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough, against that team. They're a hard-nosed team. Hard-nosed in the trenches. I saw them leaning on Oregon, got big, tough offensive linemen, tough defensive linemen. Also a team that does not get a lot of penalties, right? Only getting like 2 penalties a game on offense, 3 on defense. And they're gonna run the ball, man. Like I'm gonna put the preview out tomorrow, but everybody kind of knows what they want to do, man. I don't really got faith in Gronowski like that. I think he's probably one of the most inconsistent passers that we've seen all season. And they're gonna want to run the ball. He's also been a lot more deadly and good when he's run the ball and taken off with his legs over passing. So I don't know. I like what Kirk said. He was respectful. He knows, the type of things we could do on the offensive side of the ball. And he sees the improved defense as well. If it's me, and I'm going to end it like this, man. Y'all could call me psychotic. Y'all could call me whatever. But if it's me, I'm getting a GA. I'm throwing him in a golf cart, putting on a helmet, put on some pads and protection, man. 2 guys at a time. We got to tackle the golf cart, bro. Like, we have to tackle. Last week, we won the game. The tackling early in that game was horrendous, man. Rarely was the first guy to the ball making the tackle. And against Iowa, against Oregon, even when we come down to UCLA, man, if we don't tackle, if we don't get multiple hats to the ball and tackle, make good tackles, get guys down at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, it's going to be damn near impossible for us to, win the rest of these games, man. So I will be dropping the preview tomorrow, man. I don't know if anybody else is in this comments, if they want to say something, they want to come up and speak something, but that's about it, man. I just kind of wanted to see what Kirk Ferentz was going to say. He was pretty respectful, man. He kind of spoke the truth, but we still got to make him pay for the words that he was speaking last season when USC joined the Big Ten. And it was kind of a bit of a slight. He did say Lincoln Riley was a great offensive coach, which I don't know why. Why don't you just say he was a great coach? You know what I'm saying? Why do you have to say offensive coach? Coach is a coach. But at the end of the day, man, that's it. Appreciate everybody for coming through, watching the stream, listen to the press conference, man. But take some notes. I'm gonna watch some film. I'm gonna get out of here, man. Fight on. Y'all have a good one. Have a good afternoon.